Okay, so here we are. We're still in chapter 5 right now, and we're on page 26, and we're over here by, of course they would. So he pretty much is just talking to her. She says, please don't eat me. And he's like, oh, you think I'm a human-eating cannibal? So you remember that cannibals are people that eat people. So he's trying to say, you really think that I would eat people? But he does mention how the other giants in Giant Country, where he's from, are more of people eaters. And he's saying that people taste based on where they come from. So he says that, people from Turkey, which are known as Turks, people from Turkey are tasting of turkey. So he does like to play with his words and his homophones here, okay? So here we are. Let's continue reading. Of course they would, the giant shouted. Every human being is diddly indifferent. Some is scrumdiddlyumptious and some is ucky slush. Greeks is all full of ucky slush. No giant has eaten Greeks ever. Why not? Sophie asked. Greeks from Greece is all tasted greasy, the giant said. I imagine that's possible too, Sophie said. She was wondering with a bit of a tremble what all this talking about eating people was leading up to. Whatever happened, she simply must play along with this peculiar giant and smile at his jokes. But were they jokes? Perhaps the great brute was just working up an appetite by talking about food. As I am saying, the giant went on, all human beings is having different flavors. Human beings from Panama is tasting very strong of hats. Why hats? Sophie said. You is not very clever, the giant said, moving his ears in and out. I thought all human beings is full of brains, but your head is emptier than a bundle log. Do you like vegetables? Sophie asked, hoping to steer the conversation towards a slightly less dangerous kind of food. You was trying to change the subject, the giant said sternly. We is having an interesting babblement about the taste of a human being. The human being is not a vegetable. Oh, but the bean is a vegetable, Sophie said. Not the human being, the giant said. The human being has 2 legs and a vegetable has no legs at all. Sophie didn't argue anymore. The last thing she wanted to do was make the giant cross. The human being, the giant went on, is coming in dillions of different flavors. For instance, human beings from Wales be tasting very whooshy of fish. There is something very fishy about Wales. You mean Wales, Sophie said. Wales is something quite different. Wales is Wales, the giant said. Don't gobble funk around with words. I will now give you another example. Human beings from Jersey had the most disgustable woolly tickle on their tongue, the giant said. Human beings from Jersey is tasting of cardigans. You mean jerseys, Sophie said. You are once again gobble-funking, the giant shouted. Don't do it. This is serious and snitching subject. May I continue? Please do, Sophie said. Danes from Denmark is tasting ever so much of the dogs, the giant went on. Of course, Sophie said. They taste of Great Danes. Danes is a fancy word for dogs. Wrong, cried the giant, slapping his thigh. Danes from Denmark is tasting doggy because of they is tasting of Labradors. Then what do people of Labrador taste of? Sophie asked. Danes, the giant cried triumphantly. Great Danes. Aren't you getting a bit mixed up? Sophie said. I is a very mixed up giant, the giant said, but I does do my best, and I is not nearly as mixed up as the other giants. I know one who gallops all the way to Wellington for his supper. So the BFG seems to, like to call humans human beings. So he's referring to us humans when he says that. And he's saying that, human beings taste based on where they come from. So if you were from Jersey, you tasted like a jersey, like a shirt. And, if you were from Denmark, you taste of the Danes, which are like dogs, okay? So here we are, top of page 30. Wellington, Sophie said. Where is Wellington? Your head is full of squashed flies, the giant said. Wellington is in New Zealand. The human beings in Wellington has an especially scrumdiddlyumptious taste. So says the welly-eating giant. What do the people of Wellington taste of? Sophie asked. Boots, the giant said. Of course, Sophie said. I should have known that.